Carried. We have Susan Wood here on Nautical Days. So welcome, Susan, and you can come forward to the podium there, and you have 10 minutes for your presentation. Welcome, John.
I'm also joined by John May, who's the volunteer operations manager for Nautical Days this year.
Great.
And doing a yeoman's duty over there. He will speak to you shortly about all of those operational items that are happening.
Okay.
I'd like to give you a little bit of an overview around what's happening with the sponsorship for the festival this year. As you probably know, WestJet, who had been a sponsor of the festival for a number of years, withdrew its support this year, citing that it would like to direct its energies to major centres and major events, like the Calgary Stampede and Edmonton Folk Festival. So we lost $5,000 toward the budget and 12 one-way tickets, or both return tickets anywhere WestJet flew for the raffle prize. So that's a bit of a hole. Now, we've been able to find the $5,000 in existing budgets by renegotiating mostly the media and promotional budget. So we have new relationships with the media part of the supporters, and we have joined partnerships with BIA, or Comox by the Sea, and they're working with us to find a lovely major prize from their membership to offer as a raffle for the festival this year. So we're very, very pleased about that. Quality Foods has returned as the fireworks sponsor, providing a $10,000 sponsorship to the festival to be directed toward the payment of the fireworks. And this is quite wonderful. They've been with us for a long time, and they will return this year and hold a major event for their clients and their staff at the Blackfin on the Monday night.
Great.
So we can look forward to that. The other thing is, for those of you who don't know, there are 3 festivals in town on the August long weekend. Philbert Festival, IHOS Night Market, and Nautical Days. The 3 of us have joined forces this year. Rather than competing and not crossing the road, we have come together and created a campaign that we have contributed to equally called Festival Weekend in Comox. So each of the organizations have contributed the same amount of money. We've done a radio buy with Eagle, and it will air on all of the Pattison radio stations in our area in North Island. And that begins on July 28th. And it will promote the overall weekend happening here in Comox, and each of the festivals will be identified within those promos. There will also be a print campaign on a much lesser scale, but because we're counting on radio to get the word out. And that will run between July 28th, with the heavy up pushing to the weekend, and growing lighter throughout the weekend. So only a few promos on Monday, and lots of promos leading up to the festival. Additionally, all of the festivals will cross-promote each other. For example, Philbert Festival creates a map of Comox and the festival sites. And each festival will be identified on that map with our logos. The materials that we have down on Nautical Days information booth will direct people to Philbert and what's happening there. So there's a great deal of relationship building going on here, which is significant. And I think better represents what this community is really all about that way. We are also working with the Comox BIA to facilitate more active participation for the stores and the business community throughout the weekend. We met with them, we brainstormed about how do we get them involved, what can we do. Some things that are in discussion now are some contesting inside each of the stores. We've talked about putting entertainers up on the street between Philbert and Church Street, so that as people walk to each festival, they'll have reasons to stop along the way and enjoy some things. We've talked to the mall about becoming an active participant and potentially being what would be the air-conditioned rest stop between the 2 festivals. So we're really trying to bring in the business community to the event this year. We've also been able to refresh the website. If you haven't been to comoxnauticaldays.ca, please go have a look. And we have a wonderful volunteer webmaster now who has put all of her creativity into this, and it's fresh and fun and represents the festival very well, I think. Entertainment. We're well underway booking all of the entertainment, and for those of you who are really dying to know, yes, Elvis is back. Due to popular demand, and I don't know if you've ever seen Elvis's act down there, but I believe that had we not brought him back, there would have mass mutiny. And we may not have lived through the weekend with the grandmas down there, loving Elvis. We also have booked Juno nominee Helen Austin, who will be playing on the Kids' Day, Saturday as well. And we're very excited that we can confirm that the Naden Band of the Royal Canadian Navy will also be performing at the festival this year. There's a bunch of other people performing at the festival this year. The list is much too long to mention, but the booking is coming along quite well. We're in talks with 19 Wing to see how much more we can bring them into the festival and have a greater presence on site. And with the potential of the air show just a few weeks after Nautical Days, we're working with them to see if there's a way that we can promote the air show and have some sort of massively impressive presence on site for Nautical Days. Now, a major part of what we've been doing is working on the operational aspects of the festival. And this is where I introduce John May. Oh, come on over here.
Hi, I'm John, and thanks for finding a little time for us. This is going to be a little bit dry compared to all the great news that Susan brought to you, so
I wrote it that way.
Well, that is what she does. I wanted to ensure that the festival and all of the operational components work well together. And it isn't so much that it hasn't in the past, but there's always room for improvement. And coming from my background, which is broadcast and major event production, I felt that we needed to ensure that we were in code compliancy with all the permits. That may or may not have been complete in the past, but we're going to take all the steps that we can so that we have all the temporary BC Safety Festival operating permits. We will have a journeyman electrician on site for the operation of the festival, and he will help us wring the most power we can out of the facilities that we have and try and reduce the amount of generator activity as we can. There will still be generators, but anyway, we're going to try and clean that up as best we can. On the topic of cleanup, we're going to revise the site layout. We're not going to put the baby out with the bathwater, but there were a number of vendors that felt that they weren't positioned in the traffic flow to their best advantage, and I think there was probably some truth to that. So we're going to try and improve the layout. We do have a little more room because the WestJet caravan isn't here. So we're going to cheat the stage over a little further and try to make a little more room for the vendors. And try and keep them as happy as possible. Because you know what, festivals are all about the hot dogs and street meat, right? So we've got to keep them happy. We've got some new vendors. I'm not going to run through a laundry list, but we've got lots of applications coming in for the vendors and for the kids' rides. And we're looking forward to that being adding to the sort of the happy family and community-oriented event that it has always been. Finally, just a word on the bistro. Just an FYI, Rotary was very interested in extending the hours. They wanted to go back to 10 o'clock, which apparently they had been in the past, and we were a little resistant. We didn't want to, that just felt, so we split the difference. Instead of closing at 8, we're going to have them stop serving at 9. But we're going to stop the entertainment at 6:30 when the main act comes on the stage so that we don't have any conflict there. And I think that's going to work well for both Rotary and us. And of course, it ends early on the Monday. In terms of the bistro itself, it's important we have the special event licenses and security and server requirements to make sure that all those things are met, and they will be. I guess the last couple of things is we've got, as Susan mentioned, but I think it's worth touching on again, that in terms of all of the service providers, we have gone back to, for all of the services that we're looking for, and reopen the discussion with these providers. We're trying to spend all the money that we can in our community, and that includes, I hope successfully, but we'll have to see how the tenders come in terms of security and porta potties and all of those other things that are important. And some of them have come in and we have found some money there, so that's important as well. So and I think it's just a good idea to go back and refresh and make sure that everybody knows that they're welcome and that we're looking for community support, and at the same time we have to be competitive. So, Q&A.
Yeah, if there are any questions
Any
at all,
questions?
we're happy to.
Ken?
I have one question. You talked at one point of getting us as council involved somewhat.
Absolutely, and I believe that has been discussed at this level, and we are looking for council members to act as MCs on the stage for certain acts and introducing certain performances, as well as being available in the information booth to direct people to areas of the grounds and take questions and be generally charming.
Ken wanted the dunk tank.
I'm saving that for the kicker.
I'll do that.
We're working on that, just for you. So you may be the only one in there.
I got it before. I'm good.
So how was it about last year?
Yeah.
We have also approached Yana, and we're talking to also the Girl Guides about doing a turn in the information booth, which would allow them to, the Girl Guides to sell their cookies, and Yana to disperse information about their organization. But those conversations are
All
still.
right. Well, anything you need from council, you can coordinate through Lola Lockhart when she's back. So she'll
Yes,
be back
thank
in a
you.
week or so.
Perfect.
Anything else? Any
Anything
other
else?
questions of any kind?
Sounds good.
No, keep up the good work. That's great.
Hugh's not going to be there, just so everybody knows.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
He already messed up that he has to go win an Olympic medal of some flavor or something.
Did he tell you that before you asked him or after?
All right,
Doing the
thank you,
soapbox
everyone.
derby. Get to do the soapbox derby.
All right. Thank you. All right. Moving on the agenda, we have a staff report on Torrance Road resurfacing and recommendations from staff to reallocate and readjust.
I would move the recommendations.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and we have our engineer here for any questions, comments. Relatively self-explanatory. All right, seeing none.
I just have
Yes.
one quick question. I like the fact that we have, there's options down here. Is this a new format or is it just
We're
new?
working towards that, yeah.
That's great.
We try to get options when we have them, for sure. All right, anything further? All those in favor? Motion's carried. Two items of correspondence, one from the regional district regarding proposed elected officials forum on the 11th of June, and they're looking for agenda items. Any suggestions from council?
Do we want to receive the letter first?
Sure, we can do that.
I'll move receipt of the letter.
Second.
Received then, all in favor? Motion's carried. Barbara?
I would think the next item on the agenda would be a good topic, picking a communal rep for the airport commission. If we're all in the same room, it might be easier.
I don't know, CAO, you had a CAO meeting, did that topic come up?
Yes, and the regional district will be advertising valley-wide for interested applicants.
Okay.
And after that advertising, they said they would circulate all applications they received to the other local governments. So it will be,
Can we not run on that as well?
we can, if we want.
We'll get to that in a minute, I guess, but.
Yeah. My thought was that if the regional district is going to be advertising, say through the print media, we can utilize social media perhaps to advertise as well, just to broaden the scope as well.
Okay, so that may already be happening. Elected officials forums, as you know, in the past have included obviously all 22 elected officials, and sometime are more informational in nature. That issue around the CVAC director thing sounds like it's going to be in hand, or should be in hand. Not sure we need an elected officials forum necessarily for that issue, but perhaps there's related or other issues.
Well, I guess from my point of view, if there's, if we're just going to go there and FD and sing Kumbaya, there's not much point in doing it. But if there's some issues that need to be done, so, I guess they're asking for May 23rd
Well, if there's any issues that
If
you
there's any
think
issues
should
that
be
we-
discussed at a regional level, essentially this is in replacement of what used to be called tri-council meetings.
Yeah.
So if
So-
there's any particular
So if we
issues,
had issues, should we give them to you or Richard, or?
well, we should
and-
talk about them here, presumably, if you thought there was any.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't have any right now,
Oh,
but
okay.
one might come up, right? So if that happened, would we do it at a further meeting possibly?
We can do it next week?
You know, I think that one item that
Or we can do
that we should discuss, because there was a bit of a brouhaha about it, not that we were involved in it, but, you know, this whole issue of boundary extensions within the settlement expansion areas.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And, you know, I thought we mapped out the settlement expansion areas, and, you know, then you see the city of Courtenay looking to take in areas that are, you know, consistent with the regional growth strategy and the settlement expansion areas, and then you're getting area directors writing letters to the minister, and
You gonna bring the buns, or am I gonna bring them?
how old are you? No, I just, you know, I mean, I thought we had put that thing to bed.
Well, there may be RGS implementation issues. I don't know, again, CEO, whether any of those are being discussed. There's supposed to be one around KFN. There's obviously the topic of DCCs. Yes, there may be boundary extensions. I mean, Courtney got 2 out of 3, or 3 out of 4, sorry, that were approved. The other hasn't been approved. But I think that issue that you speak of was resolved essentially by the approval of that one boundary extension, land and forest, our land and property.
But if it's, I mean, if it's out on the table, that,
Yeah.
you know, that, I mean, it's
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
offside what
Well-
happened there.
Maybe a recommendation would be that we think of issues that we may want to put onto an elected officials meeting and discuss them next week.
Or even 2 weeks from
Or
now.
2 weeks from now, perhaps. Yeah, 2 weeks from now would be fine. And then if we have.
Sure, if
none,
there's any issues, please forward them to the CAO, and we'll see if we can get a consensus on them in 2 weeks' time.
Works for everybody.
Gives you some chance to think about it. The only other one that I'm aware of, there's still some talk that former Mayor Fred Bates is working on initiatives to pursue twinning of the region as a whole with the Putian province. But that's kind of been coming and going, and I haven't seen any update on that. I did suggest that he get in contact with Edwin as far as possible presentation maybe we should make there, involving Powell River as well. So we'll see if he's done that. But yeah, anything else? Yeah.
And the school board has been involved at some of the tri-councils in the past. I don't know whether we could ask if that was considered. Obviously, we're not hosting this, so we're not...
Yeah, again, I don't know. What would the topic be, though?
I always saw the value of just getting together and reaching some understanding, and Councillor Grant's point about boundary extensions,
Sure.
I think, although it's a hot, tricky topic, I think that probably is a good one, because there are those who also believe that the regional growth strategy was about concentrating development within the existing boundaries, and that they were seen as future expansion areas. So even some clarification of where we're all coming from in that is, I think,
Yeah, I'm
very
sure you get
useful.
different views expressed on that issue. I don't know. Again, it would be whether it's information to be provided, updates on implementation measures of the RGS. I mean, if you just throw out boundary extensions, you're going to get
Yeah.
a real...
And of course, the issue with RGS is that Jeff Garbutz isn't there anymore, so I
Right.
don't know where we could-
Well, I mean,
might-
yeah.
I guess there'd be some expertise there, but
Yeah, I mean, there are issues still to be worked on there for sure. But anyway, I guess we'll see. And CEOs, is there anything else coming out of your meetings? The other CEOs that would indicate anything?
Well, not at the
All right. So we'll see what we can come up with in 2 weeks' time. So put your thinking caps on, and we can come up with agenda items. I mean, if we don't have the agenda items, we don't have to meet. So there are lots of things that we could be doing on a nice summer evening in June 11th.
no.
Okay, so moving on to next one, receiving then the letter from the CEO of the Airport Commission.
Move receipt.
Second.
Seconded, all in favor, motion's carried. So based on what the CEO is suggesting, am I guessing that, they have received this information on qualifications that they're looking for? What we've got is a situation where the non-maintaining entity here is local governments as a whole. Yes, we could certainly advertise Sophie Courtney, so could the regional district in Cumberland, but it'd probably be nonsensical to do all that unless keep the newspapers happy. But is the regional districts one going to reference all local governments?
Yes.
Okay. And I know they did that once before, so. And then they would share the results of that.
They obviously didn't get any results because we've never.
They did, I think, the last kick around on this was a couple of years ago. I seem to recall, and there's some names that came forward.
We had one name come forward to us already.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And certainly there should be a central clearinghouse for it, so unless there's anything further that this council wants to do in that regard, we can certainly review whatever submissions are received as a council. Anything else? Yes?
So just for clarity, if someone's interested, are we going to direct all applicants through the CBRD or?
I would imagine that would make sense,
Yeah,
yes.
it makes sense to me.
Yeah, there'll be a contact point, when they're advertising.
At the meeting today, I was advised that the ads should be going out very soon, if they haven't already, but I haven't seen them in the paper
So
today.
just tell whoever's interested, look for the ad, and we'll make sure it's on social media as well.
Yeah, and if someone were to bring an application like the one that came to us, you would just forward
Yep.
that along, right? So
Absolutely.
they could drop it off there.
Makes more sense.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay. Any further on that issue? We'll carry on with that. So seeing nothing further, motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Those in favor? Motion's carried. Meeting adjourned.